This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
It's a safe shot, pin high left with a 6-iron. And then this is where JJ enters the fray again and hits this like slice 5-iron. That was just, I mean, it curved probably a good, 30, 40 feet, almost flies in the hole. And it was just a crazy shot because nobody would ever really try to hit that type of slider.
The Smylie Show, only on SportsGrid.
An HRR, parlay a combo that you want to do. I generally prefer away teams and players that hit at the top of the lineup or in the top half, just because you are guaranteed just that extra plate appearance here or there. How many times, throughout the season, I've been like, listen, if this guy gets on, he will have one more at bat in the 9th inning. And if he doesn't get there, he doesn't get there. If you just take them that's place higher, they're going to be in a spot to cash that bag.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
Dude, that's Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
Welcome back to The Smylie Show, and we have a very special guest joining us today, Ian Baker Finch, who, in very recent golf news, of course, he's broadcasted golf from 1998 until this year, 2025, signed off for the final time for CBS at the Wyndham Championship a couple weeks ago. Ian, of course, won the 1991 Open Championship, is a 2-time winner on the PGA Tour, and has a new book out. It's called To Hell and Back, which is, of course, a reference to the struggles he had on tour in the years following that Open win. Really excited to kind of get some stories and insights, and the two of you sharing, maybe not exactly parallel paths, but just what you both experienced in the game and how you overcame that and then moved on to broadcasting. And we're going to do that, Smylie, with the help of our good friends at Ahead on the trust-based relationships front. Ahead builds and manages digital platforms that power the most successful organizations in the world. Their consultative approach, unmatched engineering, and innovative solutions combine to accelerate the impact of technology in every client they serve. Ahead's long-standing relationships are built on outcomes and experience with both their clients and technology partners. You can learn more at ahead.com. So, Smylie, what are you looking forward to discussing with Ian?
Well, it's really a pleasure to get to talk to Ian for a considerable amount of time. He's just, he's done so much in this game. He's played the game at the highest level. He's called golf for as many years as you just talked about, since 98. And he's just been a voice that it's comforting, right? It's the voice that you've always known. And any person that have ever gotten an opportunity to meet Finchy in person, he's so good at just giving people their time and just making everybody feel important. I think that's the long lasting impact we'll have as a person. And of course, a legendary career on the golf course and then off as well. So for me, I always love the impersonation of Ian Baker Finch here. Love doing that from spring break. It was kind of my go-to. But
it was Ian and Kurt Byram, right? Like you had those guys nailed. Is that right?
More so Ian Baker Finch. I remember Kurt. I didn't even really know Kurt that well, and Kurt's like my mentor now, and so we laugh about it all the time. And I was like, man, why'd you throw me under the bus? Like he thought I was like throwing Kurt's name out because it was just for whatever reason, he was just always upset I use his name, but it's funny.
That's a good, I'd forgotten that piece of it. So we got to get Ian's take on your Spring Breakers broadcasting. This is going to be a really fun one, a cool one. It's going to touch on a lot of different things. So I will waste no more of your time. We'll get you right to Smylie's conversation with Ian Baker Finch.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Smylie Show. We have a guest that I'm thrilled about today with Ian Baker Finch joining the show. And Ian, first off, congratulations on an incredible career in broadcasting. You've been somebody I've looked up to for a very, very long time. So first off, congrats.
Thank you very much, Smylie. Great to be on with you. You're doing a fantastic job there. So it's the young guys like you and Colt, Amanda on the CBS side. I mean, that's what it's all about now. You know the players so well, and you're doing a fantastic job.
Yes, and it was such a great send off watching CBS. What they, how special it was over the last couple of weeks. There wasn't a dry eye. It seemed like in the compound or in that booth.
Certainly not
winning
mine.
Championship. Well,
oh my God!
It was a beautiful, beautiful send off, and of course.
I was underprepared. I had no idea. Sellers Shy is our producer. He does a great job. He's turned it around. It really is amazing, the pictures we put out and the production quality. It's really special. And he said, hey, you be ready. This is going to be a couple of weeks of celebrating you, So I still had no idea that the tributes would be the way they were. And as you could tell from my response at the end when they kept showing all of these old photos.
That got me in. I can't imagine how you felt.
She's crying her eyes out, and I'm like, stop. But anyway.
It was incredible and very, very well deserved after an incredible career in broadcasting. But one of the things that have recently come out for you is a biography to hell and back, talking about your story in the game of golf, written by Jeff Saunders. And I want to first kind of get into this because for the most part, and when we have players on this podcast that have come on, we always detail, their history in where they got started in the game and their journey. And there's no better read, I imagine, than this book that I'm super excited about reading, because I think there's going to be so many things that I read from your journey that I'm going to be able to relate to from my own personal journey in the game of golf. So when did this book come about with Jeff and wanting to get something down on paper for everybody to read?
For a long while now. I'm 65 at the end of the year. I've been involved in the game. I left school at 15 years of age to be a golf pro. That's all I ever wanted to be. I wanted to be a club pro, giving lessons, helping people out in the club. I came from a very small town, a rural area where the nearest golf course was 6 or 7 miles away. My dad and the farmers in the area did it all by voluntary labor, built the course. So that's really where I came from and what I wanted to do. I just became a good player along the way through my effort and wanting to be as good as I could be. I think a lot of players, as you said, come from that type of background where it's a singular game, as you know. It's a lonely game at times. It's not as lonely as being an Olympic swimmer, for example, but it's a lonely game. You need to be willing to put the effort in, and you've got to have a passion, as you know, to do that. So the book starts out with that, and then it ends up where I played well, then it goes through the phase where I didn't play so well, and then the last 20, 30 years doing the TV. So it's a long-term read about my life in golf, about an era in golf, if you will, not just about me. It's not like I throughout the book.
Right.
And I'd always been asked to do this book because of my rise in golf and then seemingly my sudden demise in the game when I lost my confidence and was injured and couldn't play well anymore, or certainly couldn't compete. So I'd always kind of put it on the back shelf. I didn't really want to do it. Journalists had asked me a lot of times, come on, you should tell your story. And then I finally met Jeff about 3 years ago, more than maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and he came to me and he'd written a book on my great friend and mentor, Peter Thompson, and also on Sir Bob Charles, a New Zealander that also won the Open Championship back in '63. And he said, I'd like to tell your story. And he convinced me over time. He wrote a couple of chapters, sent them to me. Sorry for the long-winded answer, but
no,
basically he convinced me that this story needed to be told for my family, for my grandchildren. They want to look back on this and say, wow, that's what Grandpa did. So that's where it started. And we spent basically 2 years either from the States to New Zealand and Australia on some sort of format, voice, audio, this way, podcast style at times. And then when I came back to Australia for 3 months each year, we'd just sit down at the coffee shop at 7 in the morning for a couple of hours, and we'd tape interviews, and we got lots of stories. And so that's basically why we did it. I trusted Jeff. He's done an amazing job of writing this book. And I'm really a part of the book, a part of an era in golf, and my journey's being told. So it's very proud of it. The editors wanted to cut it down to about 80 or 90,000 words, which seems to be what sells the best these days. We cut about 30 or 40,000 words of stories out of the book.
Wow.
We might have to write another one, actually, just on TV, because basically,
I mean, there's so many stories from that, I imagine.
Oh my God, we could do a podcast for 5 hours just on you, me, Colt, and David Faraday. So anyway, it was a real cathartic journey through the last 40, 50 years in golf for me.
Well, I'm very excited to read it. As much as I'm on airplanes, I'm always trying to find a new book to read. So I'm super excited to read this biography and To Hell and Back. So very, very happy for you.
Thank you.
And it beginning published. So go check it out.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
He said that was his decision, not a smart baseball play. Like, shut up, Dave. Like, you know what I mean? Like, really. If Ohtani wants to steal third base on his own, let him steal third base on his own, bro. Like, he's Shohei Ohtani. He made the call. He was wrong. He was out. Okay. I wouldn't have called him out for it.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Multiple times on 18 today. It was just so wild. I mean, the distances, JJ hit it to the exact same spot. He had 30 feet, 36 feet, and 30 feet, and made the second playoff hole, the 30-footer there. And then they go to recut the hole,
which I like. I like that, by the way.
Oh, I thought it was great, but I'm like, dude, he might hole out from the fairway. Like, they cut the hole where he's hit every single approach shot.
The Smylie Show, only on SportsGrid.
What would you tell the people right now, though? Like, okay, I like the Rams heading into the season, but I'm not sure about Matthew Stafford because people want to get their bets in. People want their team totals. People want to bet week number 1 here. So what's your prognosis on the Rams? We'll talk long-term in a second. Week number 1, are we just going to say, like, yeah, he's ready. Bullets are flying. He looks great out there because he is a tough dude. But again, a back injury for a quarterback trying to get all that torque on passes, usually not good.
The Early Line, only on
But I said, no, I'm going to just do what I normally do. And I tried to keep that mindset. I played well all week. It was a tough golf course. The greens weren't in great shape at Royal Birkdale. And the leading score after 36 holes was 2 under par. Wow. So everybody within 10 shots. So everyone at 8 over par or more got in. I think it was like 120 made the cut.
Oh, my goodness.
It was crazy, Smylie. It was the most ever. Fortunately, they cut to 50 after they went cut to 80, then they cut to 50 back in those days. I was 71 the first 2 days, had played well, but I was 4 back. Saturday, I shot 64, finished eagle birdie, had the best round of the day, led the tournament going into the last round in the last group with a good friend of mine, Mark O'Meara, who coincidentally went on to win at Royal Birkdale in 1998, having played with me in 91 in the last group. So that was that was fortunate for me to be with a friend that walked fast like I did in the last group. And I shot 29, the front 9 leading. So usually that's a good thing.
Yes.
So I was 5 in front, and I just hit fairways and greens from then on in, 2-putted every hole. The last hole, I remember I stood on the last tee, and if you've played Royal Birkdale, everyone comes up the hill from 17 green, and it gets very crowded in there. It's a narrow little pathway through the sand dunes, and everyone was coming up onto the tee, and I set up, and there's so much ruckus behind me. I stood back, and I line up again, and it's the first time all week I'm lining up down the fairway, and I see the out of bounds. There's a picket fence down the right-hand side, way right in the gorse, and I'm like, there's a reason I saw that. So I step back, and I adjust myself, and I aim it down the left rough, left of the bunkers, to make sure that I just get it down there. I'm 3 in front, and I hit it in the left rough. I laid up short of the bunkers around the green with a 6-iron for my second, and I'm about to pitch it on, probably about a 40-yard pitch. And my caddy, Pete Bender, said, why don't you just run a little 8-iron up left of the bunker and 2-putt for 5? And I said to him, Pete, if I can't hit this sand wedge over that bunker and hit a proper chip, I don't deserve to win the Open. So I flipped up a sand wedge out of this, tight lie, what they're like over there. Nearly holed it, kind of lipped out, ran on by it, 2-putted for bogey. But that was more my mindset in those days. I knew when I played well I could win, but the style of player I was more, I was just happy to play the best I could play.
Sure.
And that's really all I ever wanted from myself. If I finished second because I bogeyed the last, and Davis Love beat me a couple of times by playing better the last couple of holes than I did, I would just say to myself, hey, I did the best I could do. I'd still do my interview for running second with a smile on my face. I didn't have that killer instinct. So to win the Open the way I did was special to me, because obviously it was my goal in life to win the Open Championship. So I achieved that. But I proved to myself that I could win at that level, even though I was always happy just to, do the best I could. And Royal Birkdale was a great golf course to win on. I love going back there each time it's held there. And
it's next year, right? We go to Birkdale.
Next year. I'll be there for sure.
Oh, gosh.
Special moment, and great memories. Obviously, my little daughter Haley was 2 at the time, and she had I got this thing here on my mantle. I don't know.
Look at there.
Yeah, that's the claret jug.
That just came out of nowhere.
In the very top, there's a little thing that opens up, and she was so enamored with this thing, this little thing at the top. I don't know if you can see it, but it opens up, and she was all the time playing with it, sort of, and looking in there like, what's in this thing, So I had got some great photos and some great memories.
Look at that beauty.
With the claret jug.
Is that the best trophy in all of golf? Gotta be, right?
I think the guys that win the Masters have a really nice trophy as well.
That's a good trophy, yeah.
Clubhouse.
That's
this
right.
One, since the Open started in 1860, and they played for a belt for the first 12 years, and the winner, young Tom Morris, he won 3 in a row. So in those days, when you won something 3 years in a row, you got to keep it. So he got to keep the belt. And then they commissioned this claret jug from 1872. So that jug, well, that's mine. It's a replica, obviously, but the jug's been around since 1872. It's a pretty cool trophy.
God, the title fight belt came from old Tom Morris. Who knew? I had no idea that boxing was taken from the Open Championship. That is so good.
That's the tradition.
Wow. Unbelievable. Well,
that was a special moment, mate. Thanks for bringing that up. It really means a lot, still does. I take the trophy up to the club each year, and in Open Week, if I'm home, let everyone take photos, and we pour some good claret in there and drink out of it.
Well, I sure would love to take a stroll with you next year at Royal Birkdale, of course.
Yeah, come on over.
Very excited to be there for the Open Championship next year. And I want to just quickly turn the page to, we just came off one of your career highs, obviously winning the Open Championship. This is the high point in your career. Mm-hmm. And take me through to where eventually you lost confidence in the game. Was it physical that led to the mental challenges? Was it did I hear injuries were maybe involved a little bit? Shoulder?
Yeah, that was more towards the end. I just wore myself out. It may have started with playing 35 to 40 tournaments every year for 15 years as well. Probably didn't help.
So was there a particular shot that started just showing up out of nowhere that you couldn't figure out?
It didn't happen straight away. In 92, I had a chance to win the Masters, eventually finished sixth. I putted bad the last day. Had a chance to win the US Open at Pebble. I finished second at the Players' Championship. Played pretty well through the US Tour. Finished, I think I was about 15th or 16th. Had finished top 20 at the Open. I played okay, but at the end of the year, I was 24th in the world rankings. And I was so pissed off. I was so angry at myself for having dropped from top 10 down to 24th. I didn't even go to the World Championship of Golf. That was top 25 were invited. I said, no, I don't deserve to be there. I'm not playing. And that was really my mindset. I had let myself down that year, I felt. So in 93, I started trying to change things. What had caused my demise, down to 24th in the world rankings in 92?
So expectations were the beginning.
Exactly right. I look back on it now and think what an idiot I was. And I tried to hit the ball farther, and that changed my swing. I tried to flatten my path, tried to get my wrist this way and get it a little deeper on the way down when I'd always been a cupper. I couldn't miss a fairway if I tried in the old way. It just dripped down left to right about 3 yards every time. And as soon as I tried to change this to this, I lost it. A lot of players listening might understand.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Justin Rose has done it so many times in his career. That's like he's so good at everything. There's nothing that he's bad at. Every part of his game is at close to a elite level when it's good. And so when he had it going on this week, he's not scared, dude. When he gets that look in his eye, watch out.
The Smylie Show, only on
If you don't like getting hit, you can't do BKFC point blank.
Oh, absolutely. Like in the MMA world, you have opportunities to negate getting hit more so than BKFC. You can get a takedown, you can secure a dominant position where you're less likely to get hit. And even if you are getting hit, you're less damaging because of your position.
Combat Sports Report, only on SportsGrid.
I was given that advice as well, and I've quickly figured out over, I say quickly, it's been probably 4 or 5 years of trying to get my left wrist flatter and more flex, how it didn't work for my body pattern and my shot shape.
And then every once in a while, I'd be aiming it down the left, and it'd actually drip left instead of dripping right. And I still remember the shot. It was the Australian Open, 8th hole at Metropolitan. Had a 3-wood into the green. I was just trying to hit a high fade in there. I'd won the week before at the Australian PGA Championship. I was playing pretty well. And it drew. And I'm like, oh, where did that come from? I always fade it from there. And that was really the start. And then from then on, I'd hit 1 or 2 of those each day. Then it became a bit mental. In 94, it'd be on the holes where I saw the white stakes down the left that had happened rather than just at a time, random. And then by 95, I played 15 tournaments in 95 on the PGA Tour. I missed the cut in all 15. No matter what I did, I tried to get myself fit and strong. I was doing everything I could. I couldn't regain my old feelings because I'd kind of lost my own swing. I'd lost what I had in 1991 by that time. I saw so many coaches. I wished I'd gone and seen Butch Harmon. He kept telling me in 96, come see me anytime, I'll look after you. And he's the only one I didn't go to. He was working with Greg, so I didn't feel comfortable. And then Tiger, of course. And then 96, I missed the first 11 in a row. Quit at the British Open in 96 and went home and rehabbed and had myself, 6 months of injury. But that was the sliding door moment, Smylie, to make this a little brief. I struggled for those 2 years, did my absolute best. I still had 5 years exemption. I had a 10-year exemption on the PGA Tour. I just threw 5 years away and said, no, I'm stepping away from the game. And I started doing the television in Australia that year, that summer. And I did 12 events in a row. And that basically was the sliding door moment when I was offered a job over on the PGA Tour with Jack Graham and ABC. After that, a couple of years later when the television contract changed. I did 12 events a year in Australia for a few years and got better at it and good at it. And that from struggle where it was mental based on me trying to make swing changes, then it became really mental anguish, anxiety, if you will. Kind of like the yips. Guys get the yips putting and they fear a certain style of putt, whether it be a 45-foot putt up a hill or whether it be the downhill left to righter. Whatever it might be in their mind, it's that anxiety level that changes our ability to do what we do so well. When we're brain dead, we're just going, we're just so focused. And I lost that ability and that ability to compete.
And did that go away ever? Has it gone away since you got into broadcasting? When you had those 5 to 10 years in broadcasting, was there a time in which you're like, you know what? I feel like my confidence is coming back a little bit, but I've found a sense of purpose maybe in broadcasting that is pulling you more towards this versus wanting to continue to chase the competitive game, which, I mean, it doesn't surprise me either. The fact that you played so much golf, it probably was refreshing to get into broadcasting.
In a lot of ways, and the pressure was a lot less, obviously. You understand now, you've been doing this for a few years. It's a different style of pressure. Here we are talking to millions of people, hopefully, millions of people on your podcast. But it's a different type of pressure. We're just doing what we're comfortable and what we know. When you're trying to compete and hit a tee shot off the first tee at Augusta National with millions of people watching on TV and thousands of people there in the galleries, when you're doing it well, you're showing off. When you're doing it poorly, you're fearful. And that's the big difference, I think. I'm now, obviously it's 30 years on, but I don't have any of that anxiety off the tee anymore. I never miss a fairway. Mind you, I only hit it 250 yards as well. So it's like your 5-iron.
So you're telling me that you're telling me that there's light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I need to hear.
I figured it out over a couple of years. I went and played the Colonial a couple of times. When in my 40s, I shot 67 the first day one time, and then I was playing really nicely. I was going to make the cut, and I hit a hook on one hole. I think it was the 5th, and made 7 and missed the cut by a couple of shots. So I at least proved to myself that I could still play a little bit at that level. But the security of the job at ABC at that time, and now for the last 20 years, CBS, when I got to 50, I was offered a 4-year extension on my contract. And I said to Jenny, do I give the Champions Tour a go or do I stay with TV? And we decided that it was much better to stay with television, which I did. I was only doing the weekends, so I had more time at home with the family.